Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show. Minus one Joe. Mr. Rayo, of course, is getting ready for the eclipse tomorrow. I don't know if some of you in the New York City metro area, or maybe you went online on CBS2 to catch him in a piece that ran today. I did not get a chance to do that. But if you can, it's probably on YouTube somewhere. Just Google, search Joe Rayo or Lonnie Quinn or CBS2 News, or go to the CBS2 News website. I am having some technical issues tonight. I discovered that for some reason my software is not able to capture the windows off the that I have open. So we're going to do this without maps, which is going to be fun. Not only am I doing this solo, but I'm doing it without maps. So I will verbally mention, because this show does also air as a podcast on Anchor, that the Joe and Joe Weather Show is brought to you by the folks at Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon. 631-756-1125 for the best prices in town, omnitruevalue.com. And also brought to you by Wholesale Holiday Lighting by Giannini, your complete holiday lighting specialist, meeting all your decorating needs, whether it's you want your house decorated or maybe you want to do it as a business. They're at 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst, New York, 631-957-5106. So to show you the problem that I'm having, so normally what I would do is I would click on my mouse and change a setting on my window to go to the graphic, and instead what comes up is a black screen. So I don't know why it's doing this. I actually rebooted my computer, completely shut it down and brought it back up, because that's what seemed to work last time I had a problem, but back over the weekend when I couldn't get a signal out at all. So we're just you're gonna have to stare at my half-shaven face. So look, here's the big issue for tomorrow morning. And I was looking at all the guidance this afternoon and taking a look at everything that's been going on. And what strikes me is, as far as tomorrow morning is concerned, this is a very weak cold front that is dropping southward, and as a result, there's not going to be a whole lot with it. What may be left over from the scattered thunderstorms that are around this evening in the Hudson Valley and over New Jersey is probably some low clouds and maybe some haze, and some places are going to have that left over tomorrow morning, but other places might not. And I was just looking at the cloud cover, the sky cover forecast for tomorrow morning at 5 a.m., and what struck me was the fact that a lot of areas, even down to where the frontal boundary is going to be, are relatively dry. I mean, and certainly if you're up in northern New England, where we're talking about skies now on the digital forecast across upstate New York and into New Hampshire and Vermont, looking at sky cover of 25% or less, and in some places 15% or less. So up there, you're in good shape. Clear on up to Maine, through all of New England. As you go a little bit further south, this is where it becomes a little bit questionable. I tend to think what's going to happen tomorrow is some of you are going to wind up, if you're in northern New Jersey, if you're on Long Island, if you're in southern Connecticut, I think since the air is going to be drier to the east and northeast, and that's kind of in the direction where you're going to be looking for this, for the sunrise, that you should be okay, that the percentage of cloud cover that's being indicated on these maps is primarily for clouds that are going to be more to the south and west. And for example, if you're in south central Pennsylvania, probably low clouds, a mix of low and high clouds. And here we're talking about sky coverage forecast of 70 to 80%. So you're going to have to get lucky. Yet at the same time, if you head down into Maryland and Virginia, there's this patch of 50 to 60% sky cover. Further south, down in Virginia, it's all in the 90% plus range. The same goes for North Carolina. back over into Tennessee. In the high 80s, and high 70s sky cover in West Virginia, Western Pennsylvania, South Central and Southwestern Pennsylvania, seeing 70 to 80% sky coverage with clouds. But the northern part, Northwest, North Central, and Northeastern Pennsylvania, much better. And in fact, in Northeastern Pennsylvania, we're looking at 30% or less. Same for Northern New Jersey. So for most of you who are watching from the areas from Eastern Pennsylvania to Southern New England, I think you'll be able to see this eclipse. But there are going to be spots where clouds are going to get in the way. That's pretty much the best I can do with respect to what I think is going to be happening. And as far as this evening is concerned, we're kind of seeing the peak now of some blow up of thunderstorms. It's not quite as widespread as what we saw yesterday. Once again today, we had temperatures that broke to 90 or better, some places hitting 90 degrees for the sixth day in a row. Even areas on Long Island got to 90 today because the wind was primarily from the west and northwest until late this afternoon when the sea breeze kind of kicked in. So the thunderstorm activity, the dew points were once again up above 70, and that is juiced up air. A little, still have all this tropical moisture that's been coming out of the lower Mississippi Valley and Tennessee Valley, moving eastward. Again, I thought it was more, certainly looked more widespread than it did yesterday, and that is continuing to move to the east. And if you're up in the southeastern Canada, we're seeing the area of clearer skies developing and beginning to push southward. Actually, much of upstate New York right now, Vermont into New Hampshire, is mostly clear. And I think that dry air is probably going to wind up sinking a little bit further south than advertised, in my never to be humble opinion. We've got had an interesting situation today with the Storm Prediction Center, when I think it was sometime around 4 o'clock this afternoon, they suddenly put up the marginal risk that I thought they would have put up this morning from eastern North Carolina on up into southern New England, including the coastal areas. And there was no organized line of storms, but we certainly did see clusters. And at the moment, I can just describe to you on the radars, although I'm sure you can pull them up on your phones. There are a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings, one in northeastern PA that is up. There's a severe thunderstorm near Lackawaxen, or about 11 miles southeast of Homesdale. And believe it or not, I've been to both of those places in Pike County in northeastern PA. Also, we have a severe thunderstorm warning midway between Harrisburg and Allentown, near over Port Carbon, moving northwest. The thunderstorm is actually moving northwest at 15 miles per hour. There's a leftover special marine warning. There's some big cells cutting east-west across northern New Jersey between 195 and Route 78. They've kind of weakened a bit, but what's left of it is producing a coastal thunderstorm with a special marine warning up near Point Pleasant Beach. And we've got a bunch of special marine warnings up right now in Chesapeake Bay, a few severe thunderstorm warnings in south central Virginia and interior eastern North Carolina, north and west of Raleigh-Durham. So it's been a bit of a busy day. But again, yesterday there were, I think, more severe thunderstorm warnings, and we had a lot more flash flood warnings up. We had a couple of them I saw go up here and there today, but nothing like yesterday. Meanwhile, near me, in northeast Georgia, it's quiet. We had a cluster of storms here earlier today. I was just sort of on the edge of it, but they're gone. We've got an area of storms in central Alabama and through central Mississippi. Texas is bone dry except for one thunderstorm way out in West Texas. And the other area of consequence tonight is up in western Montana, where there's a band of showers and storms there, and the Storm Prediction Center has a slight risk of severe weather there. I think once we get through the next couple of hours, whatever's been going on here in the eastern part of the United States, you're going to see these storms kind of wind down a bit. Now, for tomorrow in the Dakotas, in eastern Montana, there's an enhanced risk of severe weather and a larger area of slight risk that extends down into Nebraska, the marginal risk into Kansas, and the marginal risk on the west side goes into central Montana. On the east side, comes out in western Minnesota and western Iowa. So that covers tomorrow. And then for Friday, looking at a small area of marginal risk in southeastern Iowa and in through northernmost Kansas, northeasternmost Kansas, southeastern Nebraska. There's not going to be too much happening here in the northeast and northern mid-Atlantic states, because I think we're going to have a fair amount of dry air moving down. WPC, which has been too bullish on the rainfall, has really cut it back to under a quarter of an inch, and in some cases less than a tenth of an inch. I think there are going to be spots out of this. So this is covering over the next 7 days. I don't know that we're going to see much of anything going on for Thursday and Friday. I really think the bulk of that is going to be down in Virginia and in eastern North Carolina, where they've got anywhere from 1.5 inches to as much as 5 inches forecast for easternmost North Carolina. With the shower and thunderstorm activity going on and off in the southeast, probably going to wind up with a couple of inches of rain over the next 7 days. The southwestern part of the U.S. is dry. The central and northern plains showing about an inch plus of rain over the next 7. Also, northern New England and Maine, because with the way the pattern is shaping up, we're going to have several cold fronts that are going to be coming down, and they may wind up being a bit more active because of a strengthening northwest flow, and that's going to probably mean for some wet weather up in northern New England on the order of an inch to maybe some places as much as 2 inches of rain over the next 7 days. So it really boils down to tomorrow morning with respect to what we are thinking with regards to the viewing of the eclipse. I think for the most part, we're going to get away. You're going to be okay, but there are going to be a few places in areas from eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England where there might be a little bit of patchy clouds. So keep your fingers crossed. I honestly think Long Island, Connecticut, southeastern New England, and of course going up into New England and upstate New York, those are going to be really the best places, since the eastern sky is likely to be mostly free of clouds, and most of the cloud cover is going to be south and west. So if you're in southern Pennsylvania down into Virginia, North Carolina, you have, I think, almost no chance of seeing this, unfortunately. So going forward, we are looking at the troughing in the east coming back into play. We have a shortwave trough that's right now swinging through Newfoundland and Nova Scotia. That's pushing this shallow cold front to the south and just barely to the south. The leftover upper low that's come out of Texas, so a little trough with that, will be moving east. And it looks like the northern jet is going to force enough dry air to kind of suppress this mostly to the south, so that the rains from it maybe for a short time on Friday get up into southern New Jersey, southernmost Pennsylvania for a handful of hours. But that should be about it. I think there are going to be some cloud issues as we go through Thursday night and on Friday. We might see high clouds, I think, from the system going out to our south. A low is going to develop offshore. That's going to pull down more dry air, and therefore we're going to be, I think, in decent shape for the weekend. On Sunday, we've got another shortwave trough. The upper low in Labrador is strengthening. There's another shortwave trough that's going to come down from Lake Winnipeg and then swing down into eastern Canada and push on through here Sunday night, so that during Sunday evening, a cold front will pass. And I think there might be a line of showers and storms late in the day on Sunday. After that, another shortwave trough looks to come through Monday night into Tuesday, and then that goes out. That'll probably push another front through, and following that, an even stronger upper low forms over Hudson Bay and down over James Bay late next week, and that might bring another strong cold front through here maybe late next Friday or early Saturday. But there's a lot of amplitude in the pattern, and that means that we're going to be dealing with Westerly winds in the upper atmosphere going all the way down into Georgia and North Florida. So a lot of cool, dry air that is going to swing in. It's going to dominate the weather in the eastern part of the United States for the next 10 days. So if you're looking for heat to come back, it's not going to. This stretch of hot weather is done. And for the most part, we're going to actually have cooler than normal temperatures going forward. And we're going to get into some reasonable dew points starting tomorrow, particularly as you go north. We're going to see dew points drop to the 50s and even some 40 dew points up to the north. I'll just give a quick check on the dew point map just to pull out a couple of examples for tomorrow. And let me move the time over. I wish I could, this is killing me that I can't show you guys any maps. But we're looking at dew points in the low 50s down to Connecticut, mid 50s to about New York City. You have to really go tomorrow. Southern New Jersey, southern Pennsylvania. You're going to be south of the warm front of the stalled front, so it's going to be very humid there. Dew points in the low 70s in Maryland and Delaware, in Virginia. But the dry air is certainly going to make its presence known in the Hudson Valley. You've got dew points that are going to be dropping down into the mid and upper 40s. And I'm just looking way up into upstate New York. I pulled the dew point map up for noon tomorrow, and go up north of I-90, up the Northway toward, say, Saratoga. 31 dew point, and dew points around 40 across Vermont, across New Hampshire. I mean, we're talking delightfully dry air. And in Maine, dew points down in the 30s. And then as we go into Friday, the low developing offshore is going to try to pull more of that dry air further south. It's going to hesitate for a bit, but it's going to eventually push even further south as that low develops to the southeast and moves away. And I think we're going to hold on to those dew points through into Saturday. Sunday, I think, will probably be a day where we could see the dew points come back up. In fact, I'm looking at the dew points for 2 p.m. on Friday in New York City, 48, Islip 49, 50 dew points down to Atlantic, 59 dew point at Atlantic City, low 60s down in the Washington, D.C., Baltimore area. So a bit of a break there, but that dry air really gets pulled southward on Friday. And I think we're going to see that dry air is going to linger on Saturday, still seeing dew points mostly in the 50s on Saturday. They'll come up a little bit on Sunday with that approaching front, but even here, they don't get too bad. They get back up in the low 60s for the most part. We're not going to get back into the 70-plus dew points that we had yesterday and today. And then once that next front goes by, the dew points behind it are generally in the 50s. And going into next week for Tuesday, we're looking at dew points down in the low 50s, even down into Northern Virginia, getting even into Southern Virginia for that matter, seeing dew points getting down into the 50s. Now, as far as the tropics are concerned, we are not seeing very much. We've got, they still talk about that area in the Southwest Caribbean, and looks like it's tracking a little further west, and that a lot of that stuff's going to wind up going inland into Central America. So they're not expecting any development from this anytime in the next 5 days. We still have various models trying to spin something up if eventually it winds up coming out somewhere, say in the Bay of Campeche and into the southwestern Gulf sometime next week. But we'll, at this point, it's so early just to speculate on it. The Europeans been showing it. The GFS has been showing it as well. But again, sometimes when these things they start going into land like this, they get landlocked, and then you wind up pulling the moisture up, but everything is too far west, and you don't have enough that's out there for development. So that kind of wraps up what's going on. I'm telling you, this is extremely frustrating for me. I don't know what this has nothing to do with my modem. This is the software that I use to broadcast with, and they did an update on it a couple of days ago, and it worked fine through last night. And suddenly, this evening, 10 minutes before the show, I noticed that I couldn't bring the maps up. All it's pulling up is a black screen. So I'm just going to have to play around with this. This is the first time that I've had this problem because normally I check things before the show, but that's one thing I've never had to check. It's just one click, and 5 minutes beforehand I clicked on it and it's like I can't get the maps. There's no maps. So what's going on? But in fact, I'll try it again. I doubt that anything's going to come of it. Nope, it's a black screen, a black screen, another black screen. So we'll come back to the Zoom meeting. So I could reboot the modem. I could do a whole bunch of other things. I can't do that now. I'll have to do that a little bit later. Chuck Cardillo, thank you for hitting Super Chat tonight. I really do extra appreciate it tonight, considering that I'm carrying the show. Bill Rogers says, have you ever been on TV when maps didn't come up? Did you have a panic attack? No, not really. It's happened a few times, and you just kind of go with the flow, and you just wing it, which is pretty much what I did now is what I would have done then. So yeah, it happens. Joe Rayo likes to say, technology, folks, technology. and he's right. They change, especially Microsoft loves to do this, where they, although this is not a Microsoft product, but in general, they'll put out some software that they know has problems with it, and they'll put it out with those problems, and then kind of fix it as they go along. Somebody will report that there's a bug in it, and then they'll go in there and they'll fix the bug, and it's frustrating. So obviously something's happened to cause this. What it is, I don't know. Well, actually, hold on. 1 second here. Let me see if this is it. Hang on. It just occurred to me. Let's see. All right, be patient here, folks, because I'm going to try. I'm just trying something. Now, let's see. And yep, I was right. I figured it out. Okay. Of course, now that I had the whole thing done. All right, so what happened, I just remembered that when Microsoft did an update back months ago, they screwed up the print screen. So I actually have to open up a piece of software. I didn't think it was good. I didn't think it affected the software that I use to broadcast the show on, but it did. And it just occurred to me that when I shut down the computer, and they also did an update last night, when I shut down the computer, that software program got shut down, and I had to reopen it. So voila, we got maps. So let's, at least to refresh you, there's the east. And you see the thunderstorms, the peak top, the bright white clouds, the high cloud tops. They're just about peaking now, and they are, in some cases they've already peaked and started weakening and warming and sliding to the east. You still have this leftover moisture down across the Tennessee and Ohio Valley. That's actually going to produce that substantial rain that WPC is indicating. That's going to be moving eastward, and this is what they have, as you see, for Virginia, North Carolina, eastern North Carolina, probably getting the most out of this. And let me just, I saved this map here. This is the low clouds for tomorrow morning, the low clouds. And you see that little, who knows if that's right, if there's really going to be a patch of low clouds in eastern Connecticut and Rhode Island. I don't know if that's the case. There's not a lot of low cloudiness down into Maryland and Virginia, but trust me, there is going to be high cloudiness there because of all that moisture that's going to be streaming eastward. So quickly, I'll bring up the GFS. Actually, why don't I just leave what I had, and we can look at the upper air here from the 18Z run, and you'll see there's troughing, the troughing that runs down from the Davis Strait to Newfoundland. And the westerlies, you see the westerly winds in the upper atmosphere almost never get here. We're still sort of in a little bit of a weak ridge position here in the eastern United States. So the front is very shallow. And then over the weekend, you have actually on Friday, roll this back here. So here we go. On Friday, there's a little bit of a stronger trough that swings southeastward across northern New England. That's a bigger and stronger push. And then we get into that very dry air. Those dry dew points get pulled even further south for Friday into Saturday. Then that pulls out, and then we get another short wave for Sunday that comes through with the cold front late in the day. And you'll notice, by the way, the flow, pretty dominant here from the northwest. You got a big upper high sitting over New Mexico in the land of drought there in the southwest. And that northwest flow bringing air masses down from Canada, but more importantly, it's going to be bringing cold fronts down on a regular basis. There's another one that probably approaches later on Tuesday, and you can see the trough here in the eastern part of the United States for Tuesday of next week. I don't know that any one of those troughs are going to produce very much. Remember, we're going to have all this dry air around. We're not going to have those 70 dew points, so it's going to be a little more limiting as far as the thunderstorm development is concerned. I still think we could see some isolated, stronger storms late on Sunday. Then, after the Tuesday-Wednesday trough pulls out, look at this upper low that forms over James Bay and over Hudson Bay. I mean, that is pretty, for mid-June, because at this point now, we're at day 10. This is Father's Day. That's pretty impressive to see an upper low that strong this time of year, and to have those westerlies all the way down almost to the Gulf Coast. This might be one of those rare, usually, having worked in New Orleans, once you get past late May, you usually don't see another cold front until maybe mid or late September at the earliest. It's unusual to see a cold front maybe get down that far south, but because those westerlies are, if that's correct, if you're going to see the westerlies push that far south, you could very well see a cold front get down to the Gulf Coast, which is great for me because where I am in Northeast Georgia, it means I will get into some reasonable dew points here for a day or two until that until the westerlies pull out, which eventually they do. They lift back up to about 40 degrees north late in the forecast period, and they sort of stay there. You have if the GFS is correct, you just sort of have this east-west, what I've often referred to as a very flat ridge. A flat ridge meaning that it's elongated east-west instead of being oriented. A strong ridge would look like this, okay? The flat ridge, the strong ridge would look like this, building up, say, from the Gulf states on up into eastern Canada, okay? In this instance, the upper high is elongated east-west from off the California coast and actually runs in an east-west fashion pretty much all the way across the subtropical Atlantic. It does leave the area down in here in lower than slightly lower than normal pressures, not by a lot, but it is slightly lower than normal, below normal pressures and heights, while we have much below normal heights in the area in blue up in Canada. I mean, this is really, I find this very interesting to see an upper pattern like this for the middle part of June. And even at the end of the period, you still have troughs that seem to be swinging out of Canada and preventing any kind of heat ridge from building into the eastern part of the United States. So fairly interesting here with regards to how things look in the long term. And in the short term, we'll put up the surface map. I'll use the, let me go to get the U.S. background. I think that'll work a little bit better here. And you'll see it. There we go. So that's at 384. We'll roll it back. And loading, loading, loading. Boy, this map is loading. Loading, 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 rawhide. It's taking forever. You gotta love it. There we go. Okay. Oh, and by the way, I should mention the fact that there's some snows still going on in parts of Northern California into eastern Oregon and Nevada, Nevada. With that troughing in the west, it's been pretty cold out there, and you still see even a little bit of snow come tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening in parts of the Northern Rockies with that low, that 989 low in northeastern Wyoming. That lifts up toward the Dakotas, and this is why they're going to have a big severe weather day tomorrow. Look at the flow. Look at the surface flow here. These isobars. I mean, we're talking straight up from central Mexico all the way up into south central Canada. A strong southerly wind. You've got some relatively cold air with the upper feature that's swinging across the Northern Rockies, and that's going to cause a substantial severe weather outbreak in the Dakotas for tomorrow. And then, of course, that low just kind of moves on out to the northeast. Meanwhile, here in the eastern part of the U.S., I'm showing not the radar, by the way. This is measurable precipitation. So you can see for Friday, you get a little bit of rain there into southern Pennsylvania, maybe into southern New Jersey for a few hours. Low pressure develops off the North Carolina coast, pulls away. You get a little more, that dry air from New England gets pulled a little bit further to the south. Here's your front for Sunday with some showers and storms late in the day. And then that front, by the way, as I said, gets pretty far down to the south into the Gulf, the lower Gulf Coast. And then here comes another front behind it. So this is Sunday. And then on Tuesday, you got another one that comes through. And behind that is a nice looking high there, a 1027 high up in Wisconsin that builds in. Wave develops off the Carolinas and goes out. And this is for Father's Day weekend. We have the strengthening upper low and an approaching front on Saturday with some showers. And then after that, we dry out. Looks like we'll dry out nicely for Father's Day and the day after. And by the way, if you look on the GFS in the middle of the map down in the Gulf of Mexico, you can see that it continues, just like the European did, it continues to try to spin up something there in the southwest Gulf and maybe takes it up to this run takes it into Mexico. I think the European tried to take it more northwest up into Texas. But we're talking now, this all going on Father's Day weekend and beyond. So that we still have all of next week to get through, and who knows if that is going to be the case. So, let's see. I guess I'll come back full screen. So I figured it out. It took my 62-year-old brain a little bit, but I figured it out. I have a ton of memory in my computer. That's not the problem. That wasn't the problem. It was strictly related to the software that I'm using and the fact that when I rebooted my computer, I have to open up Microsoft Snippet Pro app on the computer, and suddenly the print screen function will work. There's a correction that I could do and go in there. And I looked at it, and it was like I really need a 10-year-old to be here to figure that one out. So, not doing it. By the way, that which reminds me, I don't know how many. I don't have an iPhone. I have an Android. But for those of you who have iPhones, have you been having trouble with text messaging today? Because it just occurred to me, I text 3 people with iPhones that earlier this afternoon, and not a single one of them has received my message. So I don't know if there's something going on between Android and iPhones, or something going on with iPhones. I didn't see anything in the news about maybe some kind of outage, and I haven't had a chance to check online. So I don't know if you've been having Steve Lapointe. You have an Android, but have you been having trouble? Have you having trouble? Because I've been sending text messages to people that normally respond to me almost immediately, And one person didn't respond to me for 4 hours, so I knew there was a problem. And I called him up, and he said he never got my text messages. And then an old friend and colleague sent me a text message. I immediately responded, and 20 minutes later, he sent me the same message on Messenger, and I wrote back saying, "Yeah, I got your message I got your text message, and I responded." And he said he didn't get anything. So, okay, maybe it's just me. Everybody else is saying no problem. Yeah, I know. Maybe something is going on between iPhone and Android right now. I know they said yes. Apple said yesterday that come the fall that they're going to have an Android version of FaceTime, so that people on Androids can use FaceTime, which would be nice. I usually either Zoom it or I just talk on the phone. But anyway, I thought I just would ask that question. So I guess maybe many of you don't have friends that are on Androids. I don't know. So anyhow, I think that pretty much wraps it up for tonight. There's not much more I can say. There really isn't too much else happening with respect to the weather. Is there anything anybody would like to see? Just put it on the chat board, and I will see if I can do that. Otherwise, I'm ready to go night-night. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to go to sleep. So let me see. I'll just run through real quick if anybody had other questions here. Now, Bill Rogers, we have to get you a little more tech savvy. You don't text, you don't shop online, you barely know how to email, you don't know how to make good Italian sauce. I mean, come on. We got to get you with the program here. All right. I'm scrolling down here. Can you show the radar in Western Virginia and West Virginia? Johnny Quest for you. Absolutely. So let me just... Joe mentioned the other night that, we finally found... We were using the UCAR site for their radar, and, the UCAR site really does have a great product. And now they've discontinued, of course. Naturally, now that I want to use it, they discontinue it. But here it is on Tornado HQ. We actually have a severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued for Lancaster, Pennsylvania, about 5 minutes ago. A severe thunderstorm near New Holland, moving southeast at about 15 miles per hour. So that's pretty interesting. And... on this latest radar shot, we still have this little area of showers and storms. Now, here's a story back in through Virginia. You can see it's mostly in south-central Virginia into east-central North Carolina, where we're seeing some downpours and thunderstorms. Also over Chesapeake Bay, all those marine warnings have now expired, and there's some scattered showers and maybe a rumble or two of thunder scattered around in West Virginia. Also extending down into western North Carolina. And this area that's further south is northwest Georgia, west-southwest across central Mississippi, and into northeastern Louisiana. And that was kind of edging, that's sort of looking on the satellite loop. If you look at the clouds there, they're actually kind of blowing up more from northeast to southwest. A lot of that's waiting for the upper trough to just kind of swing around. This is what I hate about this time of year. In the wintertime, it's very rare to have a system slow down or stall. Usually everything moves along, so you can count on things just kind of chugging along from west to east. This time of year, you get into situations where you get into areas where there's absolutely no flow. There's no push. And that's what we have here. There's virtually no push in the upper atmosphere in the Ohio and Tennessee Valley. So a lot of that moisture just got to hang around for an extra couple of days. Which is why, oh great, I didn't put the maps back up. I'm sorry. The show's really turning into a mess. But there, you got your loop, okay? As I just described, most of what's here in the Ohio Valley and in the Tennessee Valley is upper flow no man's land. And now here's the radar back, as Johnny, you requested. and you can see where the echoes are. I just refreshed this a minute or two ago, so it's pretty much up to date. And you can see the showers in Virginia, in south central Virginia. In northwestern Virginia, there looks like there's one teeny tiny cell there. You see it right here. And dying out well northwest of Harrisonburg. And then around Washington, D.C., Baltimore, all the areas over Chesapeake Bay into the southeast and in the southern part of Delmarva. This is the cell over that they just issued the severe thunderstorm warning for Lancaster. We still have a special marine warning up for a big thunderstorm along the New Jersey shore in Ocean County, right along coastal Ocean County and offshore. It looks like that's a nasty looking cell there. And here's the area that's up in northern New Jersey. There's one cell here around Newark, another one just east of Scranton, and a band that extends east from there into Sullivan County, and then arcs back down into the lower Hudson Valley, even touching parts of the north shore of Long Island. Also a little bit of activity going on over the east end. A thunderstorm between Bridgeport and New Haven, another one not too far from Waterbury, another one between Meridian and New Britain. But the rest of upstate New York is quiet, although there is this teeny tiny cell there, not between Ithaca and Cortland. But the rest of New England is looking nice and quiet. So, you know what, folks? Let's end it. This is what happens. Joe's not here. I can't function. I used to do these shows by myself until I brought Joe Rayo on with me. And I've just gotten so used to having a partner that it's become very difficult. Okay. All right. So, you know what, folks? It's over. Let's end it. Now, I just took an internet hit, so the gods are telling me it's time to go. Renata says, I will try for shoreline of Connecticut tomorrow with CBS and Lonnie Quinn, but if skies are clearer north, then we'll move. Okay, great. If you could somehow put it on your phone and stream it to me, that would be even better. I'll get up early and try to live stream it on my end, but that might be, with everything else going on, that might be just a little bit too complex. You know what? Just enjoy what's going on tomorrow. And Joe can maybe describe, or if you take a video, then maybe we could show the video tomorrow night. Because there will be a show tomorrow night. There will be a Joe and Joe weather show tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern time. And we're going to be off Friday and Saturday, and then we'll be back on Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So sorry for all the problems tonight. I appreciate your indulgence. Thanks for being so loyal and for being here every single night. It's such a thrill for me that this audience here is so loyal and regular and here and on the chat board and, coming up with great questions and being part of all of this. So I just want to give everybody a big thank you. Okay? Thank you. So we'll see you tomorrow. Good night, everybody.